Nora had opened thousands of pieces of mail addressed to her husband over 11 years of marriage. Bills, catalogs, the occasional jury summons. She never thought twice about it. She thought twice about this one. It was an annual policy statement from a life insurance company neither of them had ever mentioned. A policy in Julian's name alone opened 14 months earlier, currently valued at just under $400,000. The primary beneficiary line didn't say Nora's name. It said, Vanessa Reyes. Relationship, domestic partner. 11 years earlier, Julian had carried her into their first apartment and immediately dropped her, laughing too hard to hold on. And Nora had laughed too, because that was who they were. Clumsy and certain in equal measure. They built the kind of life people call solid. A house, 2 incomes, a calendar color-coded by whose parents they were visiting for which holiday. Nora had never once in 11 years wondered if Julian had a whole second financial life running quietly underneath the one she thought they shared. The statement had arrived by mistake, technically. A mailing address error the insurance company would later apologize for, as if that were the part that mattered. Nora read the document 3 times. Policy origination date, 14 months earlier. Same month, Julian had started training for a half marathon, with a new gym membership he'd never once brought up in casual conversation again. Domestic partner, not girlfriend, not coworker. A term you only use on legal paperwork when you've already decided something is permanent. Nora didn't call the insurance company pretending to be someone she wasn't. She didn't need to. Everything she needed was already printed on the page in front of her. A name was enough. Vanessa Reyes turned out to be easy to find. A marketing coordinator at Julian's firm, 2 floors down from his office, according to a public company directory that had never once tried to hide anything. 14 months of business trips. 14 months of a gym membership. 14 months of Nora believing long day at the office was a complete sentence. Nora didn't confront him that night, or the next morning, or the morning after that. She'd learned something about herself in the last decade of marriage. She did her best thinking in silence and her worst thinking out loud. So she sat with it. She let Julian keep believing that Thanksgiving at his parents' house, 4 days away, was simply Thanksgiving. Turkey, football, his mother's insistence on the good china. She had other plans for the good china. She met with a lawyer 2 days later. Not for a divorce, not yet, just for information. What she owned outright. What was protected. What a policy like Julian's could and couldn't do to a marriage that was, on paper, still very much intact. She updated her own beneficiaries that same afternoon. Not out of spite. Out of the sudden, clear-eyed understanding that she'd been the only one in the marriage still playing by the old rules. Then she called Julian's mother to confirm what time to arrive for dinner and asked, almost warmly, if she could say a few words before the meal this year. Julian's family did Thanksgiving the way they did everything. Loudly, warmly, with too much food and at least one relative asleep on the couch before dessert. Julian carved the turkey the way his father had taught him, laughing at his own jokes, entirely unaware that his wife had spent the drive over rehearsing a toast in her head instead of listening to the radio. Nora smiled through the appetizers. She complimented the stuffing. She waited for the moment his mother always created, tapping a glass, asking if anyone wanted to say what they were thankful for this year. Nora stood, glass in hand, and said she was thankful for honesty, because it turned out to be rarer in her marriage than she'd realized. Then she set the insurance statement on the table, face up, and read one line aloud. The beneficiary's name, her title at Julian's company, and the word domestic partner, printed in a font too official to argue with. Julian's mother's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. His father looked at him, not the paper. Julian's face went through the exact kind of collapse that happens when a lie finally runs out of room to hide in. He tried, "It's not what it looks like," first, the way they always do, as if a legal beneficiary form were somehow open to interpretation. Nora let him finish. Then, calmly over his mother's untouched cranberry sauce, she mentioned that she'd already restructured her own accounts, updated her own will, and spoken with an attorney about exactly what $400,000 quietly reassigned dollars implies about a marriage's actual terms. His sister was the first to push back her chair. His mother didn't say a word. She simply reached over and took the statement to read it herself, twice. Nora drove home alone that night, past houses with their own Thanksgiving lights still glowing in the windows, and found she wasn't crying the way she expected to. She felt instead like someone who'd finally stopped carrying a bag she hadn't realized was full of someone else's secrets. People love to say the holidays bring families together. Nora had learned something truer that night. Sometimes what they really do is make it very hard to keep hiding what's already come apart.